thank you everybody for staying for our second half. We're going to be talking about sprouting. So Jeff Genova is from Holland. He works with the Downtown District Authority for the City of Holland, which is super cool. I met him at a Chamber of Commerce meeting quite a while back, right over a year ago, and found out that he loves sprouting. And somebody at the table was like, if you did a sprout class, I would come. And I was like, oh, that'd be amazing to have a sprouting class, right? So we've been collaborating, and he gave a class in Holland a few weeks ago, and we asked him if he'd come here and do that as well for us, because we have so many different sprouting seeds here and special sprouting mechanisms here that he's going to talk all about. So yeah, thank you guys. If you have any questions during, just raise your hand, and he can answer as he goes. So thank you, Jeff.
Yep. How's everyone? Like Melissa said, my name is Jeff Genova. I'm from Holland. I've been sprouting for about 8 years. I've been eating sprouts for over 50 years. I love sprouts. I think they're fantastic. They're kind of like a superfood, like all the nutrition that you get from fruits and vegetables packed into a tiny little sprout. And you get a lot more nutrients out of sprouts than you do out of full-grown vegetables. Has anyone tried sprouts before? A lot of people have tried sprouts. Yeah? Who's tried to grow sprouts before? Yeah? Did it go okay? Not so good? Fair? All right, good. A lot of people try and grow sprouts and they get moldy, or they smell funny, or they get slimy. So water, that's the enemy, but it's also the necessity. So it's kind of, we have to balance. Today, my goal is to show you how to grow sprouts, the cheapest way to do it and the easiest way, to, I think, the coolest way that I just learned how to do, that Mitchell and these guys sell here at Country Life, is this, and you can see I grew this whole big pot of sprouts here. It looks like a tea kettle, but it's not. And I'm just going to show you from start to finish, and that's kind of how my whole spiel goes today, for lack of a better term. But sprouts, I think, are a great way to get nutrients, vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K. There's fiber, which everyone talked about. It's very important. While she was talking, I was going through my breakfast, how much fiber is in my breakfast every morning. I'm like, do I get enough fiber? I only get like 20 grams of fiber, but I feel that's fair. You know, I think I'm doing pretty good with that. Maybe add a few more sprouts in there. But sprouts, like a cup of sprouts is 2 or 3 grams of fiber. It's not a ton of fiber. But you add some whole grain sourdough bread in there, some pickled red onions in there. That helps it out. And half avocado is another bunch of fiber in there. Avocados are great. My favorite thing to eat with sprouts is avocados. They just pair so well together. I eat probably 7 or 8 avocados a week. I just love them. They're great, oils and fats in there, and the fiber in there, and they taste great. All right, so now I'm going to just get into sprouting. There's 2 ways to do it. I'm going to show you 2 ways. This way is kind of the easy. I'm scared of sprouting. I don't want to spend a ton of money. You can get these mason tops, which they sell out here, which I have on these 2 jars here, and a mason jar, which you probably have in your counter. If you shop here, I'm pretty sure you got a mason jar somewhere in your house. All you need is this mason jar and a top. And this is one of my other tops, because I've used the ones that I had already used. And we'll use actually when we do these with the mung beans. So mung beans are a sprout that grow actually as a bigger sprout. They're more hardy. If you ever eat like stir fry or mushu pork, or you get some good Thai food, that's the sprouts that you're going to get, is those bean sprouts. And bean sprouts are good, in fact, more fibrous than alfalfa sprouts, and they're very good for you. But basically, when we're going to start, I use about a tablespoon, which is basically the bottom of this jar. And it's not a lot. It's basically you're covering the bottom of the jar so you can't see the glass. And then what we do is we take our water, and this is the very first step that we do when we're sprouting. The first day, like I get up in the morning, I say, all right, it's time to make some sprouts. And I set this on the counter until I come home from work. And this is all kind of everything I set on my work schedule. I do it in the morning and I do it at night, usually when I get after work. Yes, Linda?
Is it just tap water or anything?
Yep, any kind of water. I use filtered water because that's what I have at my house, but tap water works as well. It doesn't have to be special water. I will say in the wintertime, I use like a lukewarm water because it's just a little warm, because it seems like it's cold all, and then in the summertime, you use cool water because it's hot. I feel the sprouts are happy if I'm happy, so in the wintertime, I want a little warmer water. In the summertime, I want a little cooler water. So I kind of swap it up a little bit. I just put the lid on it to remind myself that these are sprouts, which is easy. Then when I get home from work, the sprouts, all I'm going to do is pour this water out. And these aren't going to stick as well as the other ones. But probably the first 2 days, when I'm rinsing my sprouts, I want them like this. And I'm going to stick them on the side. I just rotate it around. So see how the sprouts stick this side? And the reason for that is the sprouts have less chance of getting water on them and becoming moldy and slimy. Once they start sprouting and they have that little root that comes out, you'll have a little fur on it. That's actually not mold. That's actually the root growing. Then we go to the dollar store and buy the cheapest little plastic container. But basically what this container does, and I'm sure you might have these at your house or you get takeout or whatever, but you want your jar at an angle. Like a 45 degree, it doesn't have to be 4. I'm going to say this is probably 36, somewhere in there. But you want it at an angle so that water drains out. By having the little Tupperware, it's not going to get on your counter, and then you leave it there. So, all right, I rinsed, I came home, I poured them out, I started. The next morning when I get up, same thing. I'm going to rinse all these sprouts, and I'm only going to do it a little bit different because I don't have a ton of water. I just have a pitcher of water. But when you have your faucet at home, I fill the jar up to the top, pour it out, and I'm going to say the first 2 days before they really sprout out, I rotate them on the edges of the jar so they stick. Make sure as much water gets out of there. Put it here, and then I cover it up. And then when I come home from work, I do the exact same thing. You can get fancier, whatever you like to do. These have little sleeves on them. I've been sprouting for a long time, so I've acquired lots of different sprouting ways. But these sprouts have been going for about 5 days. These sprouts have been going for about 3 days. So I started kind of like every other day. These sprouts have gone for a week. And these sprouts, the very last day, I let them out. I don't put the towel over them. So they get sun, and the chlorophyll makes them green. If you can look at these ones here, how they're kind of yellow, and they haven't greened up yet. These ones have sat out all day. So today, and we're going to get these out. We fill them with, where's my little tongue? Oh, here we are. I have these cool little tongs I got on Amazon. But you can just.
So that's 1 tablespoon?
That's 1 tablespoon of sprouts.
But those aren't bean, or they are?
No, these are actually the zesty sprouting mix that I got here in the store.
But then it was just 1 tablespoon?
1 tablespoon covered the bottom of the jar is all I did. I actually have a tablespoon scoop at home that I scoop in there and pour it in, and it's the exact same amount that I poured in this one here of the mung beans. But it's a tiny amount. And these sprouts, they grow, and they give you a ton of, and so it takes a week to grow, and then I only keep them for about a week in my fridge. I put them in a container like this, with a paper towel on the bottom, and I change out that paper towel every 2 or 3 days. Usually over the time of the week, I change it out twice. But I don't keep my sprouts longer than a week. If they smell funky, or they smell a little off, throw them away. That didn't cost you but 50 cents. You can grow more. And what I do is I start growing when I take out. So I'm on a week rotation. They grow for a week, they're in my fridge for a week. And I always have 2 jars going. If you buy these mason tops, there's 2 lids. You can be going nonstop. I don't keep mine in the jar in the fridge. I keep them in a glass container, My wife says I have no street cred if I'm showing up at a natural foods place in a plastic container. But I didn't have a big enough glass container to put these in for this today. So you get plastic, I apologize. Microplastics are terrible, I know, please don't beat me up. But that's really what we do. I'm gonna finish these out. I poured these in the bowl and poured water over them. I'm gonna get some paper towels and we're gonna spread them out, but I can show you kind of what the, there's always gonna be holes, there's always gonna be seeds that don't grow, and if you grow mung beans, they're gonna shed the holes of the bean, and that'll be in the bottom, and you'll be like, what happened? But there's actually a lot of, it's just the shed holes from the beans. And I'm gonna try not to make a mess, but basically, we're gonna put them on this paper towel and dry them out. And these are just sprouts that I grew this week in a mason jar with 1 tablespoon of seeds, and not all of them sprouted, as you can see by what's left in the bowl. See, a bunch didn't in there. I don't know if you guys can see very well, but there's probably maybe a quarter or a tenth of what was in there. And then you have all these wonderful sprouts to eat, and when we get done, you can try some of those, these, but that's really how easy it is to grow sprouts. And it's just, you go in the morning, I rinse, cover. In the evening, rinse, cover. Once we get to like this stage here, I'm gonna kind of be a little gentler when I'm pouring. If you pour right, these lids, the mason top lids work really good because they have like a little spout right in the front. And fill this up, see the little spout, you pour it right in there, it goes, fits in there, and then all you do is pour it out. And I can't emphasize how easy this is to do. It literally takes you 2 minutes and 2 minutes. It takes longer to brush your teeth than it does to grow sprouts. Then we cover them back up and wait till in the morning or at night, either or, and the same with these. And these probably I would let go maybe 1 more day till they get full in the jar, kind of like those were. Around 7 days it takes to grow them. But rinse, cover. I have these handy dandy little covers. I use a towel. You can do it as cheap as you want or as expensive as you want. I wanted to show you guys the 2 different ways. Right here, this spout that they sell here in the store, I've never used one until a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it's the coolest thing ever. This is what it looks like. It has a screen on the bottom and a screen on the top. You open it. Oh, I'm not going to break this one because I'm borrowing it. Okay, but it has a rubber gasket. But I'll show you how to start. But you fill your sprouts in here, and once you put this on, this little teapot looking thing. Oh, all right. It's a lot easier than it looks, I promise. You don't have to, all right.
Just get rid of the gasket.
The gasket doesn't work. We're not using the gasket. And it's not important. But your sprouts will be in here. To start these, they give you a little cup, a measurement cup, and I'm going to start some of these as well. You fill it up. On this one, it gives you a line to mark. And this is actually about 2 tablespoons. Well, it's more than that, I'm going to say. But basically, this much sprouts, which is not a whole lot of sprouts, makes this much sprouts, which is the exact same amount that is in this big container that I brought over here. What you do with these, and this is just an old spaghetti jar. You need a container that's a lot bigger than the sprouts, because if you just put water over those, that's not going to be enough. I fill this jar to the top, And when I come back to these tomorrow morning, I don't put the lid on this one. I just did it for show. The sprouts will be all the way up to here full. They expand so much. They're dried seeds and they expand and they get full and they're full of that water. Put them in here. The same exact thing, except this cool, nifty thing has a little handle and it has a little notch on the handle right back here so that it sits at an angle. And this thing is so cool. I mean, I'm just like blown away how cool it is. But the sprouts, I still turn them the same inside the jar like I did for this one here, the mung beans, so they stick on the outside for the first couple days. Once they start sprouting, you don't want to twist them or move them around too much because it'll break the root off and then the sprouts won't grow. But once they start growing, then these are here. All you do, have this. I ran out of water. I'm gonna go grab some water. It's right in the back. Take me 2 seconds. Yep.
I'm gonna say you've got the biggest harvest I've ever seen out of a sprout.
That's the second one I got that much out of. It's great. So do you cover yours up? So I cover mine up, and they grow better. I feel they grow better that way. If you watch the video that Sprout gives you on how to grow them, they don't tell you to cover them up.
Correct.
I think sprouts grow better in the dark, but you just pour water in the top. It comes out the bottom.
So those you've not greened up.
These have not been greened up. These have been under a towel at my house, just chilling out, and they're super happy there. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between green ones and non-greens. This other batch, I'll show you. This one here, my arch nemesis with the thing. We're gonna leave that there. But yeah, so I just let that water drain out. Then you have this. You set it over here in the holder with the little notch in it. I use my towel. I just put a towel. It doesn't have to be complete blackout dark. I just put a towel over it like that. The sprouts grow better in the dark. For me, this is the same amount. These are after you grain them up. The little bit that's in here, the little bit that's in here, grows you this much sprouts, that much that's in there. That's a week for a family. I mean, and this is 12 months out of the year you can grow these sprouts. So on that last day when you're greening up your sprouts, don't put them in a window where it's hot. Just put them out on your counter. I leave mine out on a paper towel to kind of dry out a little bit. And then I put them into a container. Usually it's glass, not plastic. And put it in the fridge. And then in the morning, I get a handful out and put them on my avocado toast. At lunch, they're great on a sandwich. I have a whole list of things: salads, omelets, tacos, sandwiches, fried rice, ramen, avocado toast, slaw, curry. Eat them with hummus, bean salad, wraps, like a risotto pasta salad. Put it on top of your soup. Have with some bruschetta. Sushi, they're great. Or just by themselves. A little balsamic vinaigrette on there. Poof, man, they're great. Just eat them up. They're tasty. They're crunchy. The zesty ones have a little zest to them. The mung ones are bigger and they're more of a crunch to them. I like just straight alfalfa sprouts. Broccoli sprouts, which they sell out here as well, are probably one of the most dense superfoods that you can eat. Basically, the nutrients you get out of a full-size piece of broccoli is, I don't know, the graph I looked at says was like 1 to 3. And then a microgreens is like a 500, and then sprouts is like 10,000 of what you're getting. So you're just getting so much more nutrient-packed. It's like when you get old, you're not as vital as you were when you were young. Think about all the energy that little kids have as opposed to you have. Well, that's how you think of sprouts. Sprouts have all that energy and all that nutrition, and then, a full piece of vegetable is, kind of like me, a little tired sometimes. So I talk fast. I went through this super fast, but all of these products over here on the side. Oh, and I was going to talk about this too. So these are trays. If you want to grow microgreens, they sell trays here. These are flat for growing. Use the same sprouts. You put some dirt in the bottom. You're going to water them the same way, and they're going to grow a little bit bigger than what we have. They're going to leaf out, and you're going to have microgreens. They sell them at the farmer's market. They sell them there. To me, I think what I'm doing and what is the easiest to do is no dirt, just water, a jar. Always use a clean jar, number one thing. Clean jar, clean lid. We don't want to spread bacteria or anything like that. You want to start a clean slate. But it's super easy. It's super fun. And in 1 week, you've got sprouts. I taught a class 2 weeks ago. I have people sending me pictures of the sprouts they've already grown, that they're eating their second batch. They're already started. If you just remember, water them twice a day, get all that water out of there, keep them in the dark till the very last day, then let them green up for 1 day, rinse them to get some of the hulls out, dry them out, put them in the fridge. It's super easy. It's the easy, cheap way to get a super nutritional vegetable into your life. It's got fiber, vitamins, and they taste great. And on that note, what kind of questions do you guys have for me? Yes, sir.
So you said you don't have to put them in the sun. You don't have to put them in the sun for them to green up. You just put them on the counter.
Yeah, just so they get some ambient light. You don't. If you put them in a window, they kind of get hot and steamy, and it's a little too much for them. They can't. It's like extra, especially in the summertime. I just kind of leave them on the counter with the windows open, where they're getting some sunlight through the windows. But like my counter would be here, and like where those doors are is where the window is. It's just ambient in your house light. If you live in a place that doesn't have a lot of windows, maybe there's just one window. Maybe put them on a table close to the window, but not on that windowsill. When they get on the windowsill, that sun gets hot on them. Yeah, yes?
Have you noticed any difference in a cold kitchen as compared to, like, the temperature in the evening? If it's cold or not? You haven't?
Not really, because I'm putting them under a towel. They stay pretty insulated in there, and maybe that's part of the reason that mine grow better than other people. But that insulation in there, it keeps a little bit warm. Sometimes you'll get some condensation on the glass. You don't have to water them as much, maybe, if they're getting that much moisture. But with the spout, the water's going through it. It keeps hydrated enough, but not too hydrated. With the towel over it, it keeps a little bit of constant temperature in there, and we keep our house 68, 72, kind of in there in between. There's not much fluctuation going to be. If they were outside, yeah, then that might be a different thing. But in the wintertime, I throw a little lukewarm water on and warm them up too. So I think that works out pretty good.
Questions?
I talk super fast. I don't think it was.
Yeah, you did the good. Here.
So like is it a mix of seeds that you've got?
So yes, this one, the Zesty Sprouting Mix, it has clover seeds, radish seeds, and fennel Greek seeds, which I've never heard of, but they taste pretty good. So there you go.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I like growing.
Are there other mixes?
Yes, so these are the ones, these are just a couple. They have probably 10 different kinds of seeds out front. They have straight broccoli seeds out there, alfalfa. This is like a salad mix, a spring salad, a sandwich booster. I got this one here because it looked really fun, and I'm going to try it next. So I bought some of those to take home. But even just straight alfalfa sprouts are really good for you. Broccoli sprouts, Evelyn and I were talking a little bit ahead of time. For me, it usually seems like half the sprouts grow and half don't, but they still you're getting a good bit of sprouts, so they're good for you and they taste great. But then ones
Sprout them without dirt. I'm sorry, I got a little confused. With the broccoli sprouts,
you can sprout them this way too. All the sprouts you can do this way, you can also do them this way. This is just a thin layer of dirt in the bottom and it's microgreen, so you're growing them more than the sprout. Basically, you're growing them to leaf out, as opposed to these where you just want them to just barely sprout the leaves. So you're kind of shortchanging them when you grow them as sprouts. Yes?
Have you ever sprouted like lentils?
I have not, but you can. And on that note, don't sprout seeds that are just like a pack of seeds because you don't know where those seeds have come from. They may have some Bill Gates spray on them or something, and that wouldn't be good for you. Pesticides, other things. You want to really get seeds that are meant for sprouting. organic seeds, any of the seeds they sell here, the now seeds and stuff, those are great. But use sprouting seeds, don't use just like seeds you buy somewhere. So, and lentils, I know a lot of people that I know grow chickpea sprouts for their chickens. They're really healthy for their chickens. Yeah, they grow them in a big gallon jar of them, and it's just a good way to get greens for your chickens, like in the wintertime and stuff. Yes?
Yeah, I was gonna say too, for people who like to give wheatgrass to their cats for like hairballs, you can actually buy wheat berries, sprout those in a little bit of dirt, and then your cats will eat it. So if you have indoor cats, you can do that. So basically, anything like that Country Life carries, we have, like there's the oat groats, there's the wheat berries, there's rye, there's all kinds of stuff that Country Life has. If it's organic, you can sprout it. Even like buckwheat and stuff like that, you can
Yeah.
sprout.
If you want to grow some wheatgrass, these would be a good option to do
Yeah.
that. Just a little dirt in the bottom, some wheat, and you can grow wheatgrass that way.
Any other questions?
I'm sold.
Okay, so,
I think we're all gonna wanna go in the store and get sprouts.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're gonna.
I have sprouts for y'all. Please take as much as you want. I have way more sprouts because I do them for myself usually and my wife, and there's tons. But yeah, plates, forks, help yourselves. We can wash these off too, and we can use these.
So feel free to come up and
Yeah.
grab some. Also, like I said, we're open till 5, so if you wanna get some sprouts. Also, if you've never been to Country Life and you would like to know a little bit more about it, Mitchell is willing to give a little tour
Yes.
of the warehouse. So you can see kind of the process and what they do here. So if you wanna do that, just let me know, we'll do a tour.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Otherwise, thank you everybody for coming.